Happy Halloween, everybody. I decided to share a little bit of a ghost story with you for Halloween. Now, given what I do, I'm a medium and I have visions, I connect to the other side. I'm the biggest wuss when it comes to things like scary movies or haunted houses or ghosts, encountering ghosts. The funny thing is I do encounter ghosts, and I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorite personal ghost stories. Now, both of them happened at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel in Alberta. If you have never heard of that hotel, it's a beautiful, gorgeous, old CP Rail hotel, and it looks like an old castle. And I was there because my daughter worked there and my husband and I had gone to visit. And I had heard all sorts of stories about this hotel and the ghosts there. And I fully believe because I see these things. But I wasn't really expecting this one quite as intensely. Now, I see and I hear, but I'd never physically been touched or walked through the energy of a ghost. And when we arrived on check-in, we went up in the elevator, and there's this beautiful big area that is like a foyer, and then the hallways are off of that. Right going from the foyer into the hallway to head towards our room, I walked through this, all I could really describe it as this sticky energetic field that it felt magnetic. So as I walked through it, I could feel a substance going all the way through me, and this magnetic kind of feeling all the way through my entire body. And at the same time, it was like wax paper went over my eyes. So I lost my vision at the exact same time as I felt this big rush of energy going through me, and I stopped and paused, and I knew exactly what had happened. I knew that I had encountered a ghost, that I had walked through this being, and it was one of those things where it made me pause for a moment. I knew it was a male, and I knew that he was just as shocked by this physical encounter as I was. So it was in that instant I knew exactly he was feeling the exact same way I was. I continued on down to my room, and I didn't really share that story with my husband because he gets a little freaky about ghost stories. But I did share it with my daughter a little bit later. The interesting thing was that wasn't even the most intense part of it. Laying in bed, I was reading. My husband was asleep, and all of a sudden, I'm laying on my side, and all of a sudden I feel this hand push my shoulder, and it literally pushed my shoulder. And I knew my ghost friend was back. He was extremely curious because I knew that he didn't run into people that he could physically feel. And so he kept kind of pushing at me, and I literally said out loud, okay, that's enough. You don't need to continue on. But he was so curious. I could feel him kind of moving around the bed, and he would touch different parts of me. I finally got up and went into the washroom because my assistant's getting the goosebumps here. I physically got up, went to the bathroom, and I had a discussion with him. And I said, look, I understand that you're curious, and I know that you can feel me. I can feel you. But that's enough. I don't want you waking my husband up. And he left. But the next night he was back, and the same sort of thing. I was reading, my husband was asleep, but I could feel him trying to lay down in my body. And no way, no how would I ever allow that to happen. So I hopped out of bed and I said, that's enough. If you're going to do stuff like that, you're not welcome to visit. And he left right away. I could feel him on the third night. He was very curious, and it was like he was just kind of touching. So it would be like you seeing a ghost and going, oh, geez, I can really, there's some substance there. I can feel, I can connect. Now, this all happened before I actually worked with my gifts and shared them with other people. I understood he was there because he wanted to be there. He had no desire to leave this hotel. He felt very comfortable and very at home there. It's interesting though, because when I do encounter ghosts on other times, I know it's because they want to be released. He had no desire to go anywhere. My next big ghost story, and this one really kind of freaked me out, more so than that one. That one didn't really freak me out because I understood where he was at, and he was just really curious, just like I was really curious about him. But I was at the same hotel, a different trip, and my husband often gets up earlier than me, but he's really, really quiet about it. And this morning, I woke up and I'm hearing bang, bang. The suitcase is being dragged around. He's flipping through the suitcase. I'm like, what the heck is he looking for? So I opened my eyes to actually ask him, and he was sound asleep laying beside me. I tell you, it made me catch my breath because I knew somebody was standing at the end of the bed flipping through a suitcase. I could hear it still. And I very slowly caught my breath, very slowly turned, and of course nobody was there. I didn't see anybody. And the suitcase was not at the end of the bed. It was on the floor. It wasn't all over the room like it sounded like it was going to be. But I then heard somebody closing my door, even though the door was actually physically closed, and walking down the hall. So I don't know, it was a male again, and I don't know, it seemed like he was kind of helping me unpack, but I never got a sense again of why he was so loud and why he was so disruptive. And I honestly thought that there would be stuff everywhere in the room. That one kind of made me pause. Walking around the hotel, I actually did do a tour because there's a lot of rumors and a lot of stories about ghosts in that hotel. I can vouch for it. If you're looking for ghost hunting, it's a great place to go. The ballroom also, I really had a sense of more than one person actually in the ballroom there. So it was not something I sat and I really contemplated on, but it is probably hands down, and I've been around Europe where ghosts are pretty prevalent, but it hands down in Canada where I visited, that is definitely the place to go for a good ghost story or a good ghost experience. But don't ask at the front desk because they never claim. Although I would say on the back side, they all talk about the ghost stories. Have a happy Halloween, everybody, and enjoy.